and quarterback's throwing blind, and the receiver doesn't know that the receiver doesn't even think the guy's going to be there. But that's a bad play, and it's not like it. I mean, those are the things that keep a young guy off the field. You got to be a complete player. So, you know, a learning experience for him, and he'll get better. He's going to be a great player. He's going to be special. But you know, you got to be able to be a complete guy, be an every down guy. But you know, until then, you just kind of use him in a role and spot him in. And when we're confident that he knows what he's doing, and we can trust him to get it done, because physically he'll do it. Physically, he's not afraid or anything like that. He's just got to, you know, game's fast, and he's got to just be locked in and play with great confidence and just do his job. And but he'll get there. He's coming. He's coming.
You were talking about Garrett and Milan, sort of the different roles they have. Is finding somebody who can not just here but everywhere, but who can do both of those,
do it all,
kind of a unicorn?
It's hard. I don't think it's a unicorn, but they're hard to find. I mean, you know, because you know those guys that have that mindset. I think Braden is that guy. I think Braden has that mindset. I think he's going to be. I mean, he's 240. He's just a developing guy. He's a guy I thought with redshirt, but you know, he showed in camp like, wow, this kid can help us, and we'll see how far we can get him this year. But you know, he's going to be a 260-pound guy, and he's physically tough. He's way ahead of Leggett. And he's like in another planet from Leggett at this point, just because he likes it. You know, Leggett was a pure wideout that had to kind of learn to somewhat like it, and you know, and by the time he was a senior, he was an elite receiving tight end and a pretty good blocking tight end, and that's why he's a pro. But I think Braden has a chance to be really good at both. I think some of the guys that we're targeting in the recruiting process will fit that bill. But yeah, it's hard. And like Garrett, so sometimes you get a guy like Garrett was a guy that just natural bloody your nose guy. But man, he didn't know anything about route running, and you know, and he has come a long way. I mean, I have confidence in Garrett. I really do. I have all the confidence in the world to put him out there now, and let him run whatever we need him to run. He can run. He can do it all. He's really proven that to us and gained our trust and our confidence. But it took him. He had to work at it. He put the work. Milan, flip side. Milan, kind of a, you know, played in the slot most of the time. Big, high hip guy that can run and you know. But he wasn't blunting nobody's nose very often, and so he's had to grow into that. You know, physically he's about 260, and so he's matured and he's gotten a lot better. So some guys you get, they've got one or the other, and you try to develop them. But when you can find a guy that you think early can do both, those guys are man, make you better in a heartbeat. And I think Braden will be that. And I think Chalk's another example. Chalk's a guy. He's one of the best catchers we have. He's got great hands. He's an athletic route runner, and he understands route running. Same thing though. He's now right at 260, but he didn't block nobody either, and so he's kind of Milan again, growing into that. But he's made really good strides. You know, I'm encouraged with him. So, you know, but that's kind of what you get with that position nowadays. You know, there's not many just fullbacks that can be an elite pass rusher, and some of these tight end guys nowadays, they're mostly slot players, and you know, they don't spend a lot of time running the power and the counter and doing some of the things that you got to do physically, pass protection. So, because we ask them to do a lot, our guys have to do a lot, but we've got a good group collectively, and Milan and Garrett are by far they're the most complete guys right now, you know, I think they'll end up having a good year for us.
You said that you guys designate some times during the spring and fall to prepare for Georgia Tech, little 5-10 minute periods.
Yep.
Just so they have that recall when this week comes along. Yep. Have you seen that specifically with some of these new guys like Xavier Thomas and KJ Henry?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, those guys got a little bit of work this spring. We worked. Obviously, we're getting ready to play option football 3 out of our first 4 games. So we spent more than the normal amount of time in camp. You know, camp we get ready for the season and kind of we've done studies on all the opponents and some things that we think we want to be able to have recall on as we go throughout the season. that's why camp's so hard for some of these guys, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of installation, and then it gets easier as you get locked in to play somebody. But definitely, because we spent a bunch of time on it, and we've already played a couple games. So even though they are different, they understand the principles of option football. And sometimes guys, because it's weird sometimes for D linemen to not be blocked. I'm a 3 technique and I'm standing there. I'm expecting somebody to cut me or block me, and next thing you know, they're reading me. So there's just some differences, different things that you got to teach. And but our guys have done a good job.
Coach, we haven't talked about Niles Pickney a whole lot this season, but he's a guy from Seabrook on the coast of South Carolina. Had to have a lot on his mind last week. How good was it to see him come up with that fumble? Yeah,
it's great. His family actually moved up here to Pendleton a couple of years ago, so they were safe and all that. But he's really progressing. He's a redshirt sophomore, and he's right where we hoped he'd be. He's strong. His confidence is gaining. He's having some fun. First couple of years was hard on him. I just think that I think he had a lot of work to do and a lot of growing up to do, and just maturing as a football player and as a young person, and just kind of what it takes to be a really good player, what the type of work he was going to have to put in here. And he's just come a long way. Those guys have done a good job mentoring him. And you go make a play like he made the other day, and that just kind of adds fuel to that fire for him. But I'm proud of him. He's done a nice job, and a guy we need to really come through for us. And you think about the guys that are getting them 3 guys getting ready to walk out of here this spring. This time next year, Niles is going to have to be a war daddy for us. So this is a big year for him to kind of take a big leap.
All right.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay. All right.
Appreciate it.
Can I ask you one question really quick?